Now that we've prepared a handful of frames in Photoshop to bring into After Effects, it's time to export those frames so that we can actually get that process done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of preview this animation one more time. It's not complete, but just to demonstrate the process. We've got 9 frames here. So I hit play and I look at it and I say, yeah, that's what I want to export. So I will go up to the File menu in Photoshop, and there's a few different options for exporting graphics out of Photoshop. You've probably been using Save and Save As for the last couple of years. We also have tools under the Export headings, Automate headings, and Script headings as well, including image processors and batch processors and that sort of thing. But getting these files and these layers rather quickly converted to images is under that Export heading. So we're going to find this option that says Export Layers to Files. So I'm going to click on that, and then this pop-up will appear. I'm just going to grab it from a different monitor. And this Export Layers to Files is an automated process that's going to go through and grab all of these layers for us and export them to file formats that we specify. So the first thing is I'll go and find my destination. So I'll hit Browse. And for me, I've got an Intro to Animation folder that I'll grab right here. And I don't have any images there yet, so I'll just leave this there. It just says Frame Animation. And then I will take the file name prefix, and I'm just going to delete that prefix. I don't really need it right now. We're going to change these once they export, because Photoshop has a kind of an irritating shortcoming when it comes to using this process. We don't want to check visible layers only, unless that's what we want. In my case, all of my layers have kind of been turned on or off based on my timeline, so leaving this unchecked is important. As for file type, there are a few to choose from. JPEG is actually fine. PNG file and PNG28 may be what you want to use. That way you get that transparent background. If you want these to be flat white, you can, but I'm going to choose PNG24 just because I want to get that transparency included. I don't need to check interlaced. You could uncheck transparency if you want to, but that's kind of redundant. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and that is going to go through the process of ripping out all of those layers, and it'll take a second. You can see it running all there, and just shoot them all up. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, 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 pop. And what's happening behind the scenes, I'm going to pull this over here so you can see what's happening, is it's exporting all of those graphics here pretty quickly. Now it's trimming them to their graphic, which we're going to see both options. So I'm going to do this again in just a moment after this finishes. So export to layers was successful. Now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do File, Export, Layers to Files once again. I'm going to go get that export module. And I'm going to turn off trim layers. That way it's going to export the whole thing. This time I am going to add a prefix, and so I'll name this no trim. That way we can just have them separate. The destination is going to be the same place, so I'm just going to paste that location. PNG24 transparency, but no trim layers this time. And I'm going to hit run. And so it's going to go through that same process of exporting those layers to files, only this time it's not going to crop them to the graphic in the layer. And for this particular example, that might be convenient. That way when we bring them into After Effects, they're kind of already spaced in the right spot. So we'll let that run, and we should have it here in just 1 second. And you can see as it's working now, it's kicking those out, and they're all in the spot that they were in the Photoshop file. So now that's finished. We're going to hit OK. And then I need to make a change in these to these files rather. And if you're working on a Mac, the process will be a little bit different for you. But on a PC, I can grab these layers, select all of them. I'm going to do them in 2 separate batches. I'm going to hit the F2 key, and F2 allows me to do a batch rename process. And so I'm going to call these trim underscore and then nothing. And what it's going to do when I hit enter is it's named them trim 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we got a little bit, because of maybe the layer spacing, some of these got a little bit out of order. So it looks like this one actually needs to be trim 10 because that's the 10th frame. As long as these are in order, you'll see that it doesn't make a difference where it starts. So this would be trim 11. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. Now I don't really need these blank images. Those are just my backgrounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit delete on that one, delete on that one. And then now I have these layers as well. So I'm gonna grab them, F2, and then we'll call this no trim underscore, and then it renamed those as well. So once again, we've got a little bit of a break here. Now we have one, we want to name these no trim. This would be 10. Nope, that one's 11. And this one is 10. So now we have no trim 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we want these to be in sequence, and they just have to be like in exact numerical sequence. So for example, this one can be 3 and be fine, but if it's 1 and then it skips a number, sometimes After Effects has a problem kind of stitching all these together automatically. So we will make sure that that's correct. So this one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 looks good. Trim 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 looks good as well. So we're going to go ahead and get these into After Effects. And to do that, I got to switch from Photoshop to After Effects. So give me just one moment and we'll get that happening. So let's bring After Effects over. And now we're just going to import those files that we just had selected. So I'm going to double click in my project window. And I've already got it sorted to that folder. Now I'm going to grab and select either a group of images or a single image. And I want to pay attention to what's happening here. So we have no trim 3. And if I select just the first image in the sequence, it automatically selects this checkbox that says ping sequence. It would do the same for a JPEG, but what After Effects is doing is recognizing the fact that these look like they are a sequence of images. So if I select just the first one, it should give 3 to 11 in the same footage package. So let's try that. I import, and sure enough, no trim 3 through 11 comes in as like almost like a single image file. And it's not, it's still those separate images, but After Effects can kind of pack them in. So let's do this again in a different way. So I'm going to do trim a little bit differently. So trim, I'm actually going to select all of them, and notice that now that ping sequence checkbox is unchecked by default, thinking that I want them all separately. But I can still select ping sequence, and away we go. So I'm going to hit import, and now we have trim 3 through 11. So I've got no trim and trim. Let's go ahead and bring these down into After Effects and see how those work. So I brought this down into After Effects, and looks like I have a weird stray line there, but that's all right. And if I hit spacebar, you'll see these animate as they did in Photoshop. It's animating awfully quickly. Let's go ahead and put in change my background color too, so that way it's white like before. So I'm going to go up to Composition Settings, and I'm going to, whoops, forgive me, just grab and pop up from a different monitor. I'm just going to make this white and hit OK, and it looks a little bit closer to what we had in Photoshop. So I'm going to hit OK. So this is my no trim, so this is like the full screen resolution. So if it's spacebar, this guy is moving awfully quickly. So how do we change that? Well, I can go up to no trim 3 through 11, right click, and I get this option to interpret my footage. And this is the pop-up that allows me to tell After Effects some specifics about how I want it to behave. And one of those specifics is how the frame rate is impacted. So we looked earlier in the lesson about how different frame rates are displayed in classic animation. Well, if I want this to be maybe 12 frames per second, that's that quote on twos type approach. And I could hit OK. And that's going to cause this animation, when I preview it, to run slower. So now when I hit preview, it's actually running a little bit slower. The reason it's cutting off the end is because when I started with this footage, it was only a certain length based on how many frames were present. So to see everything, I have to go back up into my composition settings and change the duration from 9 seconds, to maybe, let's go to 18 seconds. Or rather 18, we can do 18 frames. Let's go ahead and do, let's just go ahead and do 5 seconds long. So that way we've got a little bit of breathing room. Hit OK. So now when I zoom this out, I should have more of my animation that I can view. And so that's what's indicated here, where it looks like part of my layer is grayed out. It's showing what was currently visible, and then it's showing that I can drag this out to display the rest of the animation. Right, so let's go ahead and back up and see how that looks. So now it goes all the way down like before, and then it shoots up and does its little burst. So that's the no trim. And so that would be how we get our frames from Photoshop into After Effects using a traditional frame-by-frame approach. Just to show you how the trim looks a little bit different, I'm going to drag that one in. And the trim is still compiled into like its own kind of footage package. But if I turn off, or rather focus on this one, you can see that it kind of moves a little bit oddly. And that's because each of these graphics got cropped to the bounding box of that layer. So the one that like is stretched, for example, that was going to be the base of our squash and stretch, is now vertically stretched again. So it doesn't look like it's moving at all. So when you're doing these exports as image sequences, if you're trying to export all of your layers to be separate graphics, that trim is really pretty handy. But when you're trying to get your graphics to kind of look like they're all part of the same thing, then maybe turn off that no trim, or rather that run it with a no trim so that that trim setting is turned off. So there you have it, getting frame by frame into After Effects.